Hello, I'm Dr. Eoin Plant-O'Toole. I'm an Associate Professor in Logistics and Supply Chain Management at Edinburgh Napier University. I'm also the Chair of the Policy Committee of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport in Ireland, and I also sit on the Governing Council of CILT in Ireland. I've published quite a bit over the last number of years around logistics and supply chain management since completing my PhD in 2010. And I'm also the Associate Editor of the International Journal of Collaborative Engineering. So I'm going to give you an overview in relation to the logistics and supply chain elements of the Offsite Ready project in terms of knowledge for change and empowering change. So initially we talked about supply chain management, and that's become very much to the forefront in the current environment, and it has a very important impact on the effectiveness and efficiency of many different types of projects, and in particular construction projects and construction logistics. So when we talk about supply chain management, we talk about cradle to grave, or more even so with the environmental agenda, cradle to reincarnation. And one of the key important elements to supply chain management is information flow and coordination with those upstream and downstream within the supply chain. And logistics and procurement and other elements in relation to those are considered to be components within supply chain management itself. So when it comes to the Offsite Ready project and knowledge for change, procurement is one of those key elements in there, and also looking at negotiation. And it highlights the actual procurement cycle, which was developed by the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. So it looks to identify the need in the first place, also identify potential suppliers and market review. So what's available within the marketplace itself, what suppliers are available, taking into consideration what the specifications and requirements actually are. And there might be a need for develop a pre-purchase questionnaire or pre-qualification questionnaire. Depending if there's a high number of suppliers potentially in the marketplace and what you're actually looking for, whether it's going to be a certain standard in relation to quality or accreditation, and that you might want to pre-select some of those suppliers in that process. So there's quite a number of steps in the process to just develop a detailed requirement specification, to select suppliers to participate in requests for quotation, there's a bid, and then there's a tender evaluation process, and also importantly there's a negotiation and award of contract. But also just remember, post-contract elements are also to be considered, particularly in relation to performance review of suppliers, whether it's about quantity, quality or on time, or also in terms of supplier relationship management as well, that ongoing relationship with suppliers, so you can get the best performance and the best product and the best construction project completion on time and in full. Also in relation to procurement, there's a focus on the negotiation element. So once the initial aspects around supplier selection and criteria have been selected in terms of that negotiation process, and that's again another important process. So there's some aspects to be considered around the negotiation process. And one of the key elements to focus on is actually just a simple term: be prepared. So what do you need to necessarily do to be prepared? Well, you need to be thinking about, well, what is my range of agreement in terms of maybe product or price or timing? Also, if it's not going to go well with this particular supplier in terms of negotiation, what's your next best alternative in the process? Also, in terms of the negotiation process itself, what are going to be the steps in the process? Is there going to be an initial meeting? Is there going to be more in-depth round tables? So what's the process that's actually going to be followed in the negotiation has to be particularly outlined there as well. Also, in terms of the logistics element, there's a focus on holding centres, which is very important, particularly for off-site construction and for potentially building sites with limited space in an urban potential setting there. So it has to be managed quite carefully in terms of the inbound elements, have to be scheduled. There can be quite a lot of material coming in place. There can be quite a few stakeholders, from the suppliers to the contractors. So there can be quite a lot of information flow that needs to be done there as well. So from that regard, the scheduling is quite important, and also to be able to track and trace and what needs to go where at the relevant time too. So that's also important, and it links to other systems in the process. So it should be linking to the procurement system. So there is the digital skills element there too, and also linking to the tracking and tracing and the workload and the work scheduling system on the construction site itself. So they all need to be harmonized and work together and communicate with each other so you can have an efficient and effective site, and the logistics is an important consideration in relation to that. Also, some local planning authorities are now requiring a construction logistics plan as part of the planning permission application. So this is requiring how they will deal with the traffic coming in and out of the construction site, and also you can provide other details of the volumes and how you would deal with maybe access and other aspects around those. Also, it's important to have an awareness of abnormal loads and the implications that has in terms of route planning. So with construction and with offsite construction, the loads can potentially be substantial, which means that you might need to notify the relevant authorities, and it might also have implications in terms of your route selection going forward. So there is available software and available online sites to assist with that in terms of the notification process, but also one important element to consider in relation to this is the time requirement to give notifications to the relevant bodies, and also it's important to consider what those implications are and could they potentially be designed out at the construction stage of the prefabrication. So logistics is key to ensuring an effective delivery of the project on time, and also in terms of cost and quality elements. So logistics is really about involving the right product at the right price, in the right place, at the right time, with the right quality and in the right condition. So that's Eoin Plant here for Offsite Ready, Knowledge for Change.